There's a dish my mom prepares for every picnic, every potluck, every road trip. It's just a potato salad. It's got potatoes, green beans, chicken, eggs, and pickles. And of course, a lot of mayonnaise. It comes from a French chef that was working in a Russian hermitage, and then the recipe got stolen. Somehow it ended up in Eastern Europe, in the Mediterranean, and in post-Soviet countries, and eventually in my family's lap in Iran. A lot of people just call it Russian salad, but we honor the original artists in my family, so we call it salade d'olivier. I've tasted so many different versions of this, but my mom has it nailed down to perfection. There's nothing missing. It's just a perfect amount of zest, the right amount of mayonnaise, the pickles. There's no complaints around the table when she makes salade d'olivier. Until one day, I complained. So come on a journey with me. We're on a road trip. It's my mom, my dad, and I, and we're going to Percé. And we're spending a few days there, so we've got a cooler stocked with goodies and snacks. And of course, my mom made a generous portion of salade d'olivier. And every time we're hungry, we pull to a rest stop, and we make little cones of pita bread, and we just dip right into it, and we eat some. And it was perfectly filling, and it was going great. Everything was awesome, and we were eating that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at some point. So, but we started having a little bit of tension around food at some point, and it started with coffee, actually. So when I'm traveling, I like to go and get a bowl of latte in a cute little coffee shop, check out the art. My dad likes to go to Timmy Ho's and get his double-double. Is that how you say it? I don't know. I don't drink Tim Hortons coffee. So I grab my mom and I'm like, let's go have a latte. So my dad is getting upset because not only am I going against his Timmy Ho's and like not having my coffee exactly the way that he likes it and he knows exactly how it's going to be, I'm also taking his wife to a coffee shop. So, and they're not getting along either. So the tension is building up one coffee at a time. But we managed to survive, and we're driving back. It's the final day of the trip. And we're taking Highway 132 along the southern shore of St. Lawrence River, and it's beautiful. I'm driving. My mom is in the passenger seat next to me, and my dad is in the back taking a nap. And I thought, how cute would it be to just stop at a diner and have a burger? So there's nothing on Highway 132 for a very long time, by the way. So a few towns later, I finally see a diner. And I pull into the parking lot, and as the car comes to a stop, my dad wakes up. He's like, why are we stopping? I said, well, we're gonna go have lunch. Isn't it pretty here? He's like, why are we gonna eat lunch here? We've got salade d'olivier in the back. I'm like, and I'm losing my cool at this point. I'm like, oh my God, I need to eat anything other than salade d'olivier. It's been days. I do not want to eat salade d'olivier anymore. And he's like, well, I don't want to eat food that's going to upset my stomach and make me sick. I'm like, well, you eat whatever you want. Mom, you coming? And he's like, leave me the keys. So I'm like, fine. So I leave him the keys, and I step out of the car, and my mom and I are walking to the diner. We open the door, and we walk in, and there's a single table sitting in the far corner of the restaurant, not even next to a window. They're not even enjoying the view. The waitress walks by, and she's holding 2 plates in her hands, and she zooms by and says, ça serait pas long, je vous reviens. She goes to the table. But it was fast enough that we felt the wind in our hair, but it was slow enough that we got a glimpse of the plates in her hand. And those were the saddest burgers I'd ever seen in my life. The patty was so dark, the bread looked plastic, the fries looked frozen. The freshest thing on that plate was the pickle. So My mom and I just share a glance, and very quietly, as if this waitress in the middle of Quebec speaks Persian, she tells me, you know, my salad olivier isn't that bad. And that moment lives rent-free in my brain. And I realized I was insulting my mom in that moment. Let's freeze. That story happened about 10 years ago. I don't do road trips with my parents anymore. Their body just can't handle long trips in a car. And you remember how I said they didn't get along? It wasn't just that trip. They're separated now, so we just don't vacation together anymore. I didn't know it back then, but that was my last road trip with my parents and I together. But salad olivier still comes back at every picnic, every potluck. Even my niece, who's only 5 years old, is in on the tradition now, and she requested it for her birthday last year. And you can be sure that not a crumb of it goes to waste, ever. And sometimes, when anybody will listen, we'll share the story of the road trip and how we all love this dish, but nobody loves it as much as my dad loves his ex-wife's salad olivier, because he would rather eat a 4-day-old salad olivier than anything else on the side of 132. So, and then when we share the story, I catch them sometimes sharing a cute little smile, my mom knowing that she's kind of perfected the recipe that brings the family together and restores peace no matter what we've been through. And my dad knowing that even though he's an absolute grump, he's managed to pass on some valuable life lessons to his children. Now when I take a road trip, I pack my own sandwich, I bring my own snacks, heck, I even bring my own coffee maker because I know exactly how I like my coffee done. I'm more like my father than I would have liked to admit back then. Unfreeze. So we're in that diner, right? And we're trying to get out before the waitress comes back with the menus. So I'm like, Mom, we're never going to hear the end of this. So we turn around and we start walking back. And in the parking lot, my dad isn't there anymore. He's parked on the other side of the highway. It's a very desolate highway, so it's not like cars are going by. So he's on the other side of the highway, and the trunk of the car is open. And we walk up, and I see one of the most beautiful sights. My dad is just sitting, leaning against the car, with the sun shining on his face, the trunk of the car open. He's sitting like this with one arm across his body, and in the other hand, he's holding a pita bread cone stuffed with salad olivier. And he's just enjoying the sunshine and watching the view, which is what I wanted to do. And he hears us walking back, and kind of surprised, he turns around and, without really showing much of his cards, he says, "How was your food?" I just walked up to him and I sat next to him and I said, "Give me some of that salad olivier." Thank you.